Hi everybody, Dan Illman and Mike Beer. Two stakes races at Aqueduct on Saturday. Race number 8's the $100,000 Alex M. Robb Stakes. For New York breds going 9 furlongs. You can bet the race in the card with the DRF Bets account. You know the drill by now. You sign up at bets.drf.com. You receive a 300% deposit match. Here's the field for race number 8 at the Big A on Saturday, the Alex M. Robb Stakes. Let's talk about the morning line favorite, Mike. It is the number 6 Control Group. This horse loves the mile and an eighth distance. He's such a hard hitter for Rudy Rodriguez. He's banked over $500,000. And last time out in the Red Smith, they just didn't really leave him alone.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he actually ran really well in that race last time. He just under pressure the entire way in there. The horse who finished 4th in the race, Exalting, just was sort of intent on the lead. It forced Control Group to secure the rail. They just had to race that horse for a long time. He actually survived that duel, just couldn't hold off the close at the end. I thought he ran well. You know what, Dan? I actually feel like he ran deceptively well too back in the Empire Classic too, because he bobbled at the start of that race. He wound up way further off the pace than he wants to be. He was actually racing on very well late in that race. This horse is in deceptively good form, likes the distance, likes the track, and I sort of feel like in a race like this, there's a lot of speed in here. He doesn't have to be right on the lead to be effective.
As you mentioned in that Red Smith last time out, he broke great. Looked like he was going to go right to the front, and the 4th place finisher was intent on pushing him every step of the way. Control Group in a perfect world would have gotten off the rail, gotten outside that horse. He was locked down inside every step and had to fight. And as you mentioned, the Empire Classic, he ran deceptively well, but he is a 2-turn 9 furlong horse, and that's what he's going to get here. And Timeform US believes that he'll be close to the pace, but you said there's a lot of speed, and that could always be worrisome for a horse like Control Group. Let's throw up the pace projector for the Alex M. Robb Stakes. You'll see the number 8 Black Tide out there on the lead. Now, Black Tide is a very fast horse. He made the lead last time out in the Artie Schiller. He ended up finishing 3rd to Exalting, the horse that outfooted Control Group to the lead last time out. But let's be honest, isn't Black Tide a turf horse?
Yeah, he's a turf horse. He's a pretty good turf horse. But he's not nearly as good on the main track, especially when you wind up in a situation like this. Yeah, he's a speed. Maybe he'll clear the front. But there are plenty of other speeds in this race, so it's not like he's going to get some kind of easy lead in this race.
David Canizzo has had a very solid 2018. This is not a move that he's done well with in the past. As we take a look at the formulator fact for Black Tide, past 5 years, older dirt routers off a 45 to 60 day layoff, 4%, a 71-cent ROI. But Black Tide is a real hard-hitting New York bred. Maybe we'll wait for the turf in 2019. If Black Tide gets to the front and Control Group has to rate, well, that means I guess the number 2, Mr. Buff, has to rate as well. And let's be honest, Mr. Buff's probably at his best when he's controlling things, as he did in his last 2 starts. I thought his last race over course and distance was solid. I wasn't sure of the field he beat, although Testosterone in here finished 5th and came back to win.
Yeah, that's true enough. I mean, he had a lot go his way last time. He was able to get to the front, and then, but he put away some challenges through the second turn, held on through the stretch. He's now won 3 of his last 4 at a mile and an eighth. He's just a horse who it feels like he's got plenty of speed, but when they get him stretched out in distance, it feels like maybe he's even better. If the pace works against Control Group, I guess it also works against this horse who wants to be forward. But in a lot of ways, they just might be the 2 best horses in the race.
Hit It Once More used to have a lot of early speed, and the question is, at the age of 5, does he have the kind of gas to go with a Control Group, to go with a Black Tide, to go with a Mr. Buff, if those horses are aggressively ridden? Last time out at Parks, kind of a disappointing performance. I guess you could say the same thing about the Empire Classic.
Yeah, I think both of those things are true. The difference with Hit It Once More, I think, in the other 2 speed horses we already talked about is this horse needs the lead to win. He just can't win without it. I mean, that's very evident going through his PPs. He's a talented horse, but he only runs up to his very best when he is able to control the pace, and it just feels like it's almost going to be impossible for him to do that here.
Gary Siaka, Yellow Moon Stable, they have Hit It Once More. They also have Testosterone, the number 4, and maybe Hit It Once More is in here to make sure of that good pace, to be hustled out of there, force Black Tide's hand, force Control Group's hand, force Mr. Buff's hand, and that would all play well for the veteran Testosterone, who rallied off of a mild pace over a sloppy track to win last time out. I know he was in for the 40,000, but this horse has plenty of back class, and I have no worries about the distance.
No, I mean, he is one of those horses who, if he shows up and runs his best race, he can be competitive in here, and especially if the pace develops in front of him, because that's something else that he really likes. I know that last time, I think if you just look at the the race at face value, look at the fractions at face value, you feel like, well, he closed down a relatively modest pace. I actually felt like the runner-up in there, Giodoro, worked pretty hard on the lead in there. He had everybody chasing from behind through the turn. This horse finished best of anyone to close that race down. I thought the race set up well for him, but it was nice to see him show that maybe he's back in form now, because if he's back in form, he's a dangerous horse in here.
While Winston's Chance has been sprinting lately, don't forget that he won in the summer of 2017 at Saratoga, going 1 1/8 on the engine. Now, he certainly doesn't need the lead. He is not getting anywhere near the lead in the Alex M. Robb. But breaking from an inside post, I can see him tucking in behind 3 or 4 horses and working out a trip. And he's got a couple of fast races in the bank. He's going to be a good price for low-profile connections. Why can't he at least hit the board and spice some things up?
I think he can. He's kind of horse I would definitely be using underneath, too. He's very underrated. And he's very versatile, both in terms of running style and in terms of distance. You can sprint him, you can go long with him, and he'll show up. You can take him off the pace, you can put him on the pace, and he will show up. He might fall into a really nice trip here.
Caledonian, the number 7, a multiple stakes winning sprinter over the old inner dirt track at Saratoga as a 3-year-old. This is going to be his first start around 2 turns in his 12th lifetime outing. He's coming into this race in good form for a really sharp trainer in John Terranova. I got some worries about the distance.
I do too. I like Caledonian as a horse.
Yep.
I like his trainer a lot. I think he does a great job. I'm just really worried about this distance for him.
Let's talk about Twisted Tom, who it looked like he was going to come into his 4-year-old campaign with some real high hopes. Heck, he swept the New York Derby, the Albany, and the Empire Classic. And if you throw the Belmont out, he won 3 races going into the Belmont. That makes it 6 out of 7. My math is fantastic. But it took him so long to get back to the races in 2018. And his 2 races at short prices have just been uninspiring, to say the least. Bill Mott took him over after that last race. He's listed as a vet scratch at the fairgrounds on November the 24th. Heck, if the old Twisted Tom shows up with this pace scenario at this distance, he's dangerous. I don't know what we're getting.
Based off his 2 races so far this year, I don't think the old Twisted Tom exists anymore. The horse that was so good last year just has not looked anything like that in his 2 starts this year. It looks like, to me, like he can't run anymore. We'll see what he does here. I'm hoping for a turnaround. I'm hoping that this horse can find a way to put it all back together, because he was good last year, but I'm not taking him off his last 2 starts.
Anyone can move him up, even off a Chad. It's the great Bill Mott. True. We'll see what we get from Twisted Tom. He's going to need a fast pace and a sort of a climb into the Wayback Machine just a little bit. We take a look at our top picks in the Alex M. Robb. We're going with the 2 morning line favorites. Control Group is just so honest, and he loves 1 1/8, and he doesn't necessarily need the lead, that he could fall into a trip tracking either Black Tide or both Black Tide and Mr. Buff, and probably get the jump with a nice bid on the turn.
Yeah, we'll see if he can do it that way. I mean, obviously, when you look at him on paper, he's a little bit better on the lead. Well, you got to come out of there running. I wouldn't be so intent that I would, hook him into a duel in this race. If somebody else goes and it feels like they'll be going, try and sit off another horse and see if you can do it that way. If he can, I think he's very dangerous.
I would send Mr. Buff fairly hard out of the gate. If Black Tide wants it, I would let him go, and then we'll see. Maybe Control Group locks me in, and it's a cat and mouse game, and it's trouble for Mr. Buff. But I think David Cohen needs to be aggressive and grab and secure the rail going into the first turn. And the form he's in right now is the second choice. He fits. Mike's going 6-2-1-4. I'm going 2-6-4-7 in the $100,000 Alex M. Robb Stakes. One of 2 stakes races at the Big A on Saturday. Again, you can bet them both with a DRF Bets account. Sign up is quick and easy at bets.drf.com, and you'll receive a 300% deposit match to boot. Approximate post time for the Alex M. Robb, 3:47 Eastern. Good luck.